In about 5 hours, severe storms will begin to move into the area. I'll break down the hours with the greatest threat for damaging wind, hail, and tornadoes coming up.
Plus, strong storms. The same system headed to the Triangle left a path of destruction across parts of the country. Next, we'll take a look at the hardest hit areas.
And out of the classroom and behind bars, a local chorus teacher is in jail accused of sexually assaulting a student. Ahead, his history with the school and the charges he faces.
Today is a WRAL weather alert day. Later this afternoon, we could see storms bringing heavy rain, damaging winds, and possibly tornadoes. This system is already making its way across the country. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Thanks for joining us. New video shows a funnel cloud. Right here, you see it as that storm moved across Arkansas. And in just a few minutes, we will show you more of the damage that was left behind from this wild weather. First up, though, meteorologist Kat Campbell has a look at when the storms will arrive here in the Triangle.
We expect these storms to start to move into our western counties right around the evening commute, and the greatest severe weather threat will last until about 10 o'clock, though we could see some additional showers and storms even after that, but they would be less likely to be severe. Damaging wind will be the primary threat, but there could be isolated tornadoes, and the way the wind profile is set up, we could even see some large hail form in a couple of these storms, and pretty much all of central North Carolina is likely to see at least some showers and storms this evening. But the corridor with the greatest severe weather threat is from the Triad and Charlotte over toward the Triangle and Fayetteville, and really most of our viewing area, a level 3 out of 5 severe weather threat for our area. So we're going to be watching these storms close in on us as we head into the evening. They haven't made it here yet. We could see a severe thunderstorm watch issued. There was just one issued for the Charlotte area. No watches or warnings in effect just yet. We're just starting to see the rain push into the mountains. For kids heading home from school, 3 o'clock, 3:30, I think it'll be mostly dry out there. That's good news. For the bus, by 5 o'clock, just about a 20 to 30% chance of a storm. And that would be in the western part of our area. But things really begin to worsen as we get closer to dinner time tonight. 6, 7 o'clock, a very active radar expected in the Triangle. And that will continue in our eastern counties from about 8 p.m. through 10 p.m. And then we could see some redevelopment. This would be right ahead of the actual cold front passing through later on tonight. That should be out of here shortly after 1 a.m. And then a cool down will follow, but not for long. I'll explain our temperature setup behind this system coming up.
And Kat, this storm has already proven deadly. 6 people are dead, including 3 in Michigan. Police say 3 people were killed when a tree fell on their car. 3 other members of their family were also injured. NBC's Adrian Broadus shows us some very aggressive weather this weekend, from ice, snow, flooding, and tornadoes.
This morning, millions of Americans bracing for severe storms as the week starts off with wild weather in many states still drying off and thawing out. Possible tornadoes touching down in the Midwest and Southeast.
Beautiful tornado, dude.
Strong winds racing through Indiana.
We have multiple trees down, multiple power lines down.
Buildings destroyed and trees crashing into power lines and homes. In Michigan, the roof ripped off this elementary school. Playground equipment smashed to pieces.
When I pulled up to the building and saw the roof membrane laying over the side of the building, it truthfully brought tears to my eyes.
In the upper Midwest, a flash freeze turning rain into ice, creating treacherous road conditions, including this flipped over semi on an interstate in South Dakota that shut down traffic for hours. Wintry storms knocking out power to hundreds of thousands. This power station in Michigan covered in ice. And from ice to dangerous floods in the south, water filling the streets of Miami.
This is insane.
Concert goers seen here wading through water to escape the overflow at the Ultra Music Festival, which had to shut down temporarily. The downpours also submerging entire neighborhoods near Baton Rouge. And Mother Nature not done yet. A line of storms is now marching east.
That was Adrian Broadus reporting. This year has already seen numerous tornadoes, with approximately 300 tornado reports logged since January. That's nearly double the 164 reported this time last year. Now, we will have weather updates for you on the air and on WRAL's news app. We'll be following this in the coming hours as it intensifies. You'll get up-to-the-minute alerts when that storm gets near your community.
Breaking news, a Johnston County chorus teacher is behind bars, charged with sexually assaulting a student while on campus. WRAL's Chelsea Donovan is first to break this story. She joins us live outside West Johnston High School. Chelsea, what have you been able to learn about the teacher and the serious accusation?
Yeah, so I was told just about an hour ago from the Johnston County Sheriff's Office that Joshua Johnson was booked into the detention center there just shortly ago. We understand from looking at the West Johnston High School's choral page that he has been an instructor here, actually the chorus director, for about 7 or 8 years. Now let's show you the suspect we're referring to. This is 38-year-old Joshua Johnson of Benson. On Thursday, the Johnston County Sheriff's Office received a report that the high school teacher sexually assaulted a student on the campus. Now, following an investigation which included the student's account, Johnson was charged with 2 counts of indecent liberties with a student. Now, right now, Johnson is being held in the detention center under a $75,000 bond. We're awaiting word from the school system here to see when he was hired and what his status is now that he is behind bars. Live in Johnston County, Chelsea Donovan, WRAL News.
New at noon, 2 people suspected in an early morning stabbing are now in police custody. It happened shortly after 4 o'clock this morning in the 1400 block of Wickerleaf Way in Garner. Officers say 19-year-old Omarion Atkinson had been stabbed in the forehead and his left thigh. While on the scene, police took Travion Lloyd into custody and later found Michelle Clemens on Jones Sausage Road. Atkinson was taken to the hospital for treatment. His condition is unknown, and there's no word yet on a motive.
Crews are searching for the cause of a fire at a shopping center in North Raleigh. Dozens of firefighters responded to the shops at Vintage Village on Durant Road just after 8 this morning. It took crews about 15 minutes to put out the fire. The owner arrived on scene to find his business damaged.
You go away, and all of a sudden somebody's calling you, your building's on fire. So you rush to look at it, see what's going on. Of course, I couldn't hardly get in because of the traffic and all the fire trucks. But I got to hand it to the city of Raleigh, and they did a great job.
The fire was limited to 1 building in the village. No one was hurt.
The wife of missing retired Green Beret Clint Bunnell will be appearing in court today. Shayna Cloud is accused of murdering him and concealing his death. WRAL's Carly Haynes is live in Cumberland County. And Carly, this is all going to get started in about 2 hours.
And Bunnell has been missing since January, but since then there has been a lot of activity on social media with Facebook groups made questioning his disappearance. As you said, his wife, Shayna Cloud, will be appearing in court in this building behind me. I want to show you a photo of Cloud. That's who we're expecting to see today. Retired Green Beret Clint Bunnell was reported missing in January when he did not show up for his class at Methodist University. He was studying there to become a physician's assistant. And when deputies looked into it that same day, Cloud had allegedly told deputies she hadn't seen Bunnell since the day prior. Bunnell's car and his backpack were found at the home the two shared. Then the following month, deputies found human remains in a body of water about 3 miles from that home. Due to the condition of the remains, it took a while for a positive identification. But then this past Friday, investigators confirmed that it was in fact the body of Bunnell, and Cloud was taken into custody. Now, family members of Clint Bunnell posted on Facebook, the Bunnell family is beyond devastated. Clint was an incredible human who sacrificed so much for others and dedicated his life to the betterment of the world. Now, in this court appearance, we are hoping to hear more about the evidence that authorities have gathered leading up to this case today. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Cumberland County.
A man who was struck in the westbound lanes of I-40 in Raleigh this morning has died. Police say Jose Vasquez was changing a flat tire on the right shoulder when another vehicle struck him and kept going. Officers are searching for that hit-and-run driver. During the investigation, 3 westbound lanes of I-40 were closed between Hammond Road and Rock Quarry Road.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, a trial is set to begin today concerning the $600 million class action settlement concerning the 2023 train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, that happened in 2023. Norfolk Southern says two other companies, GATX and Oxyvinyls, they should help pay that settlement, claiming they both bear some responsibility in this crash. Norfolk Southern says GATX should be held responsible because it owned the rail car that caused that derailment, while Oxyvinyl should pay because that chemicals manufacturer provided inconsistent information about its vinyl chloride before officials decided to burn it. Both companies say that Norfolk Southern was responsible for the safety of the train. The trial is expected to last 2 to 3 weeks.
Today, the Wake County Board of Commissioners will discuss its budget for the upcoming fiscal year. The projected budget is more than $2 billion. Today's work session will be at 2 o'clock this afternoon. The county will also hold information sessions about the budget process Wednesday at Oberlin Regional Library, next Monday, a week from today, Southgate Community Library, and then next Tuesday at Southeast Regional Library.
Next at noon, search for survivors. The window closing to find people alive after the devastating earthquake in Asia.
Also, hidden dangers, how microplastics get into our soil and eventually into us.
Plus, fear of flying at 12:30. How to avoid the stress associated with being on a plane.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
President Donald Trump is not ruling out the possibility of seeking a third term in the White House, even though it is prohibited by the Constitution's 22nd Amendment. Repealing or changing the 22nd Amendment would require 2/3 votes, both in the House and in the Senate, and the ratification by 3/4 of the states. Trump acknowledges another way is if J.D. Vance ran and won and then passed the baton to him. Meanwhile, Wall Street is bracing for another potentially wild week as the president rolls out a new set of reciprocal tariffs. Trump is expected to unveil the tariffs on a vast number of products from other countries on Wednesday, which he's calling Liberation Day. After slapping 25% tariffs on all foreign-made cars, Trump told NBC News he couldn't care less if foreign automakers raise their prices.
Time is running out for rescue teams to locate survivors from the scene of that devastating earthquake that struck Thailand and Myanmar. The first 72 hours are considered that golden window to find victims trapped under rubble. More than 2,000 people are dead. Thousands are still missing in both countries. NBC's Janice Mackey-Frayer reports from Bangkok.
Heading into a fourth night here in Bangkok, where officials announced earlier they've detected signs of life. So the focus is now on that heap, the concrete, the steel, the glass being moved, pulled away. They're very aware of the time window that rescuers have to reach survivors, and they say every second now counts. In Myanmar, search and rescue teams have been fanning out across the city of Mandalay. Chinese teams rescuing at least 6 people alive from the rubble today. But the scale of the devastation in Myanmar is vast, and so is the need. The World Health Organization has issued an urgent appeal for at least $8 million. And organizations like UNICEF say even if they have supplies in country, they're struggling to get them in trucks and on roads to the people who need them. Here in Bangkok, U.S. military personnel are on the ground helping with this recovery effort. Officials say that they'll continue to dig for hours and for days until everyone is out. Janice Mackey-Frayer, NBC News, Bangkok.
Myanmar's civil war presented an obstacle for aid groups. Saturday night, both sides agreed to a unilateral partial ceasefire to accommodate earthquake relief efforts.
Israel is ordering a full evacuation of Gaza's southernmost city, Rafah. This means Israel will likely launch another ground operation in that area soon. Israel ended its ceasefire with Hamas earlier this month. At the beginning of March, Israel cut off all supplies of food, fuel, medicine, and humanitarian aid to that territory, adding pressure on Hamas to accept changes to their truce agreement. The evacuation order comes during Eid al-Fitr, a Muslim holiday marking the end of the fasting month of Ramadan. Iran says it will not meet with the Trump administration for direct nuclear talks. Iran's president says a formal rejection letter was delivered to a U.S. contact in Yemen. He says the U.S. has breached promises and must prove it can build trust. He adds that indirect talks can continue. The Trump administration is levying how sanctions on Iran now as part, or new sanctions, I should say, as part of its maximum pressure campaign.
Firefighters have made progress battling the Table Rock wildfire in South Carolina. Since the fire started, it has burned more than 12,000 acres. It's the largest ever recorded wildfire in upstate South Carolina. At last check, the wildfire was 30% contained. Authorities say the fire was started by 4 teenagers and charges are pending. A reminder to use extreme caution when driving during severe weather, especially in the dark. The NBC affiliate in Louisville captured this car slamming into a tree that was in the middle of the road. Wind and rain are to blame for knocking down that tree. The crew says although you can make out the tree with the camera lights, it was difficult to see the tree on the ground until you got close to it. EMS crews checked out the driver, who is expected to be okay.
Hard to see, especially all that rain that was happening there, and what a terrible scene. Right now, let's get to Kat Campbell in the WRAL Severe Weather Center as we kind of break down where this stands, a level 3 today.
Exactly, Jeff. It's pretty common to see a level 1 risk around here. A level 2 threat's even pretty common, but a level 3 threat is a bit more serious. It's on a scale of 5, a level 5 being the worst and extremely rare, a level 1 being a bit more common. So here's the level 3 risk. Basically what this means is you could see numerous severe storms. These could be those really big severe thunderstorm warnings that we see on the radar sometimes, and they'd be more persistent and widespread. The big concern for us is likely to be damaging wind gusts, but I do want to let you know it is pretty common during the spring months to see a few tornadoes in North Carolina. These are the statistics. April and May are when we see the most tornadoes on average. Of course, April starts tomorrow, and September you see a little uptick. That's due to hurricane season. Our main concern today is going to be the risk for damaging wind gusts, but there is a low to moderate threat for both hail and tornadoes in the area. So far with this system, we've seen a lot of damaging wind reports. To put this into perspective, over the last 3 days, as this system has moved across the country, there have been nearly 500 reports of wind damage and 5 tornadoes. So again, damaging wind is really going to be the bigger, more widespread concern. Hopefully this puts your nerves at ease, maybe a little bit more. I know a lot of folks get a little bit more anxious with tornadoes, and there is some large hail concern as well. Almost 300 reports of large hail, and our atmosphere is set up in a way that's conducive for maybe an isolated instance of some large hail. All the yellow, or I should say orange boxes that you see here, these are severe thunderstorm watches, so I wouldn't be surprised if we are placed under a severe thunderstorm watch later today. The storm's just crossing into North Carolina as we speak, and we're going to be watching this kind of lift to the northeast later in the evening. The storm timeline, I just updated this map for you. The western part of our area, Roxborough, Durham, Siler City, Sanford, and the Sandhills closer to 4 to 7 p.m. will be that main severe weather threat window. 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for Wake County as well as Fayetteville, and that extends up into Granville County, Mecklenburg County, Virginia. Our eastern counties, including Johnston County, Rocky Mount, Wilson, Goldsboro, you're looking at a closer to 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. time frame. There is a little bit of good news I can report with this system. We're going to get some rain, and that should help with the pollen. Looking at the new model data midday, we're looking at about a half an inch of rain generally in the triangle. You can still see the pollen haze over the triangle, a little yellow hint here on the horizon, and our pollen count is high at last check. We actually don't have specific numbers in yet from the weekend. As soon as we get those in, because they could be pretty high in the records, we will let you know and compare them to record pollen in our area. 80 degrees for the high today. Very warm, very muggy out ahead of those storms, helping to energize the atmosphere. Beautiful weather in store for the Durham Bulls home opener tomorrow. And the Canes game, don't forget, you can watch it 7 o'clock here on WRAL Wednesday. Good tailgating weather for that. Check out this 90 degrees on Friday. We're going to talk more about that coming up in the next half hour.
90.
That's a little extreme. The next 2 days are the sweet spot, though.
Humid.
Absolutely. Kat, thank you. Fuel fiasco. Coming up at 4, drivers are figuring out their next steps after an Apex gas station admits they received a compromised fuel delivery.
Closing healthcare gaps. 5 years after the COVID-19 pandemic exposed critical gaps in maternal health care, a local church is working to provide essential support for expecting mothers. Their plan to decrease maternal mortality rates. That's at 5. Well, still ahead this noon, tiny particles, big problem. From the food we eat to the water we drink, microplastics are inside us all. Coming up, how some farming products could be to blame.
Fear of flying. It's a common issue. Later, we'll share some guidance to help you ease your worries. Many people choose artificial sweeteners instead of sugar to help lose weight. But new research reveals that a popular product may actually increase your appetite. Sucralose is a key ingredient in some Splenda sugar substitutes. Researchers say sucralose triggers an increase in appetite when consumed in a drink, such as diet sodas. The study only investigated the impact of sucralose and did not research other popular artificial sweeteners.
The agriculture industry only accounts for about 3% of plastics used in the world, but researchers worry it can still have a major impact to our health. Sue Guzman explains how microplastics seep into agriculture systems through various sources.
Plastic waste may be easy to spot anywhere, but researchers warn the most dangerous types may be the ones we can't see.
Microplastics are created when large plastic in the environment breaks down into smaller and smaller pieces. And the real problem is that those pieces never really go away.
Microplastics can be found on farms around the world from plastic waste, especially in Uganda, where plastic production is very common.
We experience so many plastics, and that is brought up by the reason of having so many plastic factories or industries.
Researchers say many farmers also rely on agricultural plastics like plastic sheeting to help grow their crops as conditions become more challenging.
That breaks down over time, even though it can last for years. Eventually, that plastic breaks down over time, or it tears off and blows away and just becomes essentially another source of plastic in the environment.
While agricultural plastic is a cost-effective way to sustain crop growth, scientists and farmers warn microplastics in farming soil can often end up in humans.
We know that microplastics are in our bodies, in our lungs, our brains. They've been found in a variety of places.
Researchers are working to determine the health effects of microplastics found in soil.
One of the potential issues is that there are other chemicals, potentially toxic chemicals, that adhere onto microplastics and can be moved around in the environment and in our bodies through those microplastics.
Sue Guzman reporting, and researchers say major engineering solutions are needed to reduce microplastic use in farming and protect humans from dangerous health risks.
Deadly crash. A pilot is dead after a small plane on its way to the Triangle crashed in New Jersey. What we're learning about the incident.
Saving time, a new stretch of road is accomplishing its goal. How drivers are making it to their destination with fewer delays. And here is a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers on your screen. Renee and I'll be right back. And right now at 12:30, late this afternoon through the evening, we are likely to see wind damage and possibly tornadoes and some large hail.
Meteorologist Kat Campbell is in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with a look at when these severe storms will arrive where you are. Kat.
We could start to see these moving in the western part of our area around the evening commute, but I really think the radar is going to be the most active around dinner time tonight. It's a level 3 out of 5 risk today for the areas in orange. Spring is severe weather season across the southeast, and unfortunately, that's the case with this setup. All the orange boxes are severe thunderstorm watches in effect up into Charlotte. We could be placed under one later today. So leave it here on WRAL. We'll keep you updated as the storms roll through this evening. Some good news for the kids heading home from school. At the bus this evening, the school pickup line, it should still be mostly dry out there. It's not until we get closer to 5, 6 o'clock that we really start to see the radar blossoming with activity. It may be closer to 7 o'clock for Wake County with the storm storms pushing through. In our eastern county, 7 to about 10 o'clock would be the time frame for the worst of these storms to roll through, and it's that leading edge that's going to have the greatest threat for damaging wind gusts. Winds could gust between 50 and 70 miles per hour, and then we may see a little bit of a part 2 develop to this system. It would not be as likely to be severe as what we see move through earlier, but there could still be some thunder and lightning in this final band. That should be out of here by about 2 a.m. Then the wind direction shifts and things change behind this system. I'll talk a little bit more about what specific severe weather threats we could see and the timing for each coming up here in about 15 minutes.
Kat, thank you. WRAL has you covered when it comes to tracking this severe weather. When we're not on air, you can track it all on the WRAL News app. Be sure you have the WRAL News app installed on your phone. Turn on alerts to get notified about severe weather in your location. It's available for free for Apple and Android devices.
A person is dead after a small plane crashed in New Jersey, and the FAA says it was on its way to RDU. WRAL's Noah Klein is here now with what we know about this incident, Noah.
Jeff, the FAA says that pilot was the only person on board. New Jersey police confirmed that person is dead. This is what else we know here. Take a look. That plane took off around 10:30 Sunday morning from Princeton Airport, headed to RDU. About an hour later, Franklin Township Police out of New Jersey responded. Investigators said there was a call from air traffic control reporting a loss of contact with a single-engine aircraft that was flying over Franklin Township. Police eventually put a drone up. They were able to find it. First responders found the person dead in the plane. Authorities have not said just yet who that pilot is. We're still working to learn if that person has any connection to Raleigh and why that plane was coming to RDU. The NTSB is set to release more information later today.
Noah, thanks. In about 2 hours, a woman charged with murdering her Green Beret husband after his body was found in a Fayetteville pond is due in court. Investigators say Shayna Cloud killed 50-year-old Clinton Bonnell. A body found February 25th in a pond on Gainey Road was identified Friday as Bonnell's remains. Deputies arrested Cloud the same day. Bonnell was reported missing in late January after he failed to show up for class at Methodist University. Cloud is in jail without bond. A Wake County man is scheduled to be in court today on charges of sex crimes involving a child. 24-year-old Isaac Diaz is accused of committing a sexual offense against a child in southern Wake County. His charges include indecent liberties and statutory rape. He is in jail without bond.
And happening right now in the WRAL Live Center, some sad news to report overseas. 3 U.S. Army soldiers who were missing in Lithuania have been found dead. We just got this update just about 2 hours ago. A 4th soldier is still missing. They went missing during a training exercise back on March 25th. Their armored recovery vehicle became submerged in this peat bog during a mission. It was found earlier this morning. Officials have not released the identities of the soldiers. Search and recovery operations are underway right now to find that 4th missing soldier. The U.S. Army and Lithuanian authorities are investigating the cause of all of this.
One person is hurt after a stabbing this morning in downtown Raleigh. Officers and responders got to that scene just before 2:30. The call came in on Fayetteville Street and Martin Street, and police say the person who was stabbed is expected to survive. No arrests have been made in the case. Today will be the last day on the job for Fayetteville Police Chief Ken Braden after 2 years in that role. Braden worked his way through the ranks to be appointed Fayetteville's first Asian American police chief. He has been with the department since 1996. Braden says it's time to retire now and spend more time with his family, his wife and grandchildren. Assistant Fayetteville Police Chief Todd Joyce will take over the role as interim chief.
Fans who want to follow Duke to San Antonio for the Final Four can get their tickets now, but it will be a costly trip. If you were to fly out of RDU on Friday and come back Sunday, it would cost between $900 and $2,000. Travel experts say making a trip like this happen requires flexibility and creativity. So you'll need to look at surrounding communities for hotels. They'll have more availability and better prices. Think about flying into Austin or Houston and then driving to San Antonio.
If you're able to, spend a little bit of time on the front end and a little bit of time on the back end, maybe seeing the area, doing some other things when you're there other than just the game. If you have that flexibility, then you'll be able to find tickets.
You will also need to look out for scams, especially if you're looking for an Airbnb. Verbo or other home rental. Those types of scams are likely to become much more common as demand spikes around the Final Four.
Duke will play the Houston Cougars Saturday in those semifinals. Tip-off for that is 8:49 p.m. And while the Duke men do prepare for their Final Four matchup, the season came to an abrupt ending for the women's team. The Blue Devils lost in the Elite Eight to defending champion South Carolina. This was Duke's first Elite Eight appearance since 2013. Their eyes are already set on the future of the team. The players we talked to saying their closeness will help them support each other as they look toward next season.
Fear of flying, ways to reduce your level of anxiety before and during your flight.
Numbers are in. How many drivers are taking advantage of the Triangle Expressway extension in the 6 months since its reopening? Remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device. And right now you're looking live at the WRAL Azalea Gardens, watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. Going to get some rain on those gardens a little bit later.
The blooms will certainly benefit. Well, flying can be stressful, right? More than 25 million Americans indicate that they have some level of fear around flying. And for some, it can create sleepless nights and a little bit of anxiety. For others, it can be debilitating. One psychologist recommends reading up on the safety statistics about flying, as well as how planes work. It's also a good idea to arrive at the airport early to avoid any added stress.
Focus on creating a calming environment, whether it is bringing noise canceling headphones, bringing snacks, downloading movies, games, anything that's going to help to keep your mind distracted so you are not ruminating or worrying or playing the what ifs over and over again. This is going to help to make your flight go much faster and to reduce your anxiety.
If nerves strike before boarding, try to focus on all the things you're looking forward to once you land. It's also a good idea to bring something to keep you busy during the flight.
Triangle Expressway is saving drivers plenty of time. The 540 extension opened in late September, and according to the State Turnpike Authority, about 76,000 vehicles per day are saving time by using that expressway. Since it opened, there have been more than 17 million toll transactions, with nearly 147,000 on the busiest day. A crew of 4 is set to travel aboard a SpaceX capsule to Earth's frigid north and south poles. It'll be the first time humans have flown such a mission. Cryptocurrency billionaire Chun Wang will be he'll be joined by 3 polar explorers, and that group is expected to lift off from a launch pad in Florida tonight.
A deadline and wait times. People living in North Carolina will soon need a real ID, but long lines at the DMV could create a dilemma, the pending trouble and what the state is doing to fix it.
Plus, homeowner hurdles. Buying a home is becoming more expensive. How much you're expected to make to own the average house. If you need a new driver's license, a real ID, or any other DMV service, better get ready to wait.
A 5 on Your Side investigation found virtually no available appointments for those services over the next 2 months. Keely Arthur uncovers why wait times are getting even worse and what the state is doing to fix it.
Viewer complaints about the DMV are at an all-time high. Here are 3 factors driving up these long lines and wait times. The Real ID deadline. The deadline to get a Real ID is May 7th, and only about 50% of North Carolinians have theirs. In-person renewals. Many drivers who renewed their licenses online for the first time 8 years ago are now required to renew in person this year. And staffing shortages. Some DMV locations like East Raleigh have 15 workstations, but only 8 employees.
The employee here, they were very, very nice. Said, what you need to do is go wherever you're going to go get your license, whether it's here or somewhere else, go get in line at 7:30 tomorrow morning. You'll then put your name on a list. You'll then wait till noon and then put your name on another list, and then you might be seen by 5 o'clock, and that ranks as being absurd.
Earlier this month, Governor Josh Stein proposed adding nearly $20 million in the DMV's budget, in part to add staff. We asked all 170 state lawmakers if they plan on supporting that budget increase. We're going to hear what they have to say coming up on WRAL News tonight at 6 p.m. We're also going to hear from State Auditor Dave Bullock. He's going to give us an update into his audit of the DMV, what he says is crucial to cut down on these long lines. Keely Arthur, 5 on your side.
Americans need a household income of more than $100,000 to afford a typical median-priced home in most states. That's according to a new study by Bankrate. The company found that income amount has increased by 50% in just the past 5 years, as home prices have also risen by 20% on average to more than $418,000. The study also found that people living in 30 states, including North Carolina, would need an income above $100,000 to afford a home, while 8 states need $150,000 or more, and 3 require at least $200K.
Uber and DoorDash are pressing Republican lawmakers to expand President Donald Trump's promise of no taxes on tips to include rideshare drivers and food delivery workers. Now, the leading proposal in Congress would let many restaurant and casino workers claim the proposed deduction. Uber and rideshare workers, though, are typically independent contractors, not employees, and wouldn't be eligible. The lawmakers would limit the tax break to a $25,000 deduction.
YouTube's new test may help silence those pesky notifications. The test will affect those who have selected to receive all notifications from channels they are subscribed to. During the test, viewers will not receive push notifications from channels that they haven't engaged with recently. The reason for the change is to prevent users from disabling notifications entirely. But on a day like today, you'll want to have your notifications on when it comes to the WRAL News app for important weather information.
And we've been following this nasty line of storms coming our way, and Kat Campbell's in the WRAL Severe Weather Center with this update.
The good news is you still have a couple of hours before the rain and storms get here. I think kids are going to be okay heading out from school today. It's later this evening, especially around dinner time, that things really begin to deteriorate. See the orange boxes here? These are severe thunderstorm watches. Charlotte now included in one, and that means conditions are conducive for severe storms to develop. We don't have any warnings yet in that area. We'll continue to watch it. Those would show up as yellow boxes. We expect those to arrive here later this evening. It's warm and it's muggy outside today. We've got temperatures in the 70s right now with dew points in the low to mid 60s. That's the number on the right side of the box here. And that's telling us that air is pretty muggy. The good news about this is that the muggy air in place this week is going to help to lower the fire risk in the state. The bad news is that warm, muggy air equates to thunderstorm fuel and energy as we see this cold front approach. 4 o'clock, we could see maybe an isolated storm in the western part of our state, but I think things are really going to start to get worse in our western counties closer to 5 o'clock, and that could be the case in the triangle closer to 6, maybe 7 o'clock this evening. Still an active radar at that time, and in our eastern counties, that threat is from about 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Although that main threat should end by 10 p.m., we could still have some showers and storms until the cold front itself actually passes, and that's not going to happen until midnight in the triangle, and then comes the cooler air. Tomorrow, high temperatures are in the upper 60s to lower 70s. We've got a north wind kicking in, and that'll cool things off. The good news is for tomorrow, you get the sunshine back, dry weather, and that is spectacular news for the Durham Bulls. Tomorrow is opening night. You can see it's beautiful out there. Some good news here. You can see what maybe a little green tent, a yellow tent because of the pollen. Some of the rain's really going to help to wash this away. Most of the models are indicating about a half an inch, a quarter of an inch to a half an inch of rain likely for many of us. The Durham Bulls game 67 for the first pitch tomorrow around 6:30. By 8 o'clock, low 60s. Beautiful springtime weather for baseball. And then we get some summer heat by the end of the week. 68 is our normal high, to put this into perspective. So tomorrow 70, even though it's cooler in perspective, it's still above normal, I should say. Thursday, we're at 87 for the high, and by Friday, 90 degrees is our forecast high. That would actually break the record high at RDU that was set all the way back in the 1930s. We hold on to the warm weather into the weekend. 87 Saturday, a small chance for rain Saturday, and of the upcoming weekend. Sunday may end up being the wetter day. Well, once we get through today's WRAL Weather Alert Day, we've got some beautiful weather Tuesday and Wednesday. Great weather for tailgating for the Canes game Wednesday, and then just a small 20% chance for rain that night into early Thursday. And then the heat cranks up. Not only will it be pretty warm, I think we could say hot, 90 degrees on Friday. It's going to be pretty muggy. The normal first 90-degree day of the year is not until mid-May typically.
Yeah, we're going to go with hot.
Yeah, that qualifies.
A Raleigh staple has closed its doors. 42nd Street Oyster Bar served customers for the last time last night.
Ahead, we'll show you how the community showed its support for the legendary restaurant.
We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today. A Johnston County chorus teacher is in jail charged with sexually assaulting a student while on campus. 38-year-old Joshua Johnson is the chorus teacher at West Johnston High School. Investigators say Johnson faces 2 counts of indecent liberties with a student. He's being held at the Johnston County Jail under $75,000 secured bond.
This afternoon, a woman charged with murdering her Green Beret husband is due in court. Investigators say Shayna Cloud killed 50-year-old Clinton Bunnell. A body found February 25th in a pond on Gainey Road was identified Friday as Bunnell's remains. Deputies arrested Cloud the same day. Bunnell was reported missing in late January after he failed to show up for class at Methodist University. Cloud is in jail without bond.
Crews are searching for the cause of a fire at a shopping destination in North Raleigh. Dozens of firefighters responded to the shops at Vintage Village on Durant Road just after 8 o'clock this morning. It took crews about 15 minutes to put that fire out. The fire was limited to one building in the village and no one was hurt.
One of Raleigh's most legendary restaurants is officially closed. 42nd Street Oyster Bar served customers for the very last time last night. Every single table was full. We're told this is how it was ever since the restaurant announced it was closing for good. 42nd Street Oyster Bar was in service in Raleigh since 1931 and at this location since 1987. Staff say the owners told them they were not going to sign a new lease at their Jones Street location and have no plans to move.
Carolina Hurricanes got a nice win last night, and they will go head-to-head against the Eastern Conference leading Washington Capitals this week with Alexander Ovechkin. He scored another goal yesterday, and that means he needs 5 goals from breaking Wayne Gretzky's NHL record. Puck drop is Wednesday, 7 p.m., and here's the great news. This one is being played right here on WRAL.
He's closing in. Workers will soon remove a historic southern magnolia tree that has grown on the White House grounds since the 1800s. President Trump says the tree, planted by former President Andrew Jackson, is in bad shape and has become a safety hazard. The tree is planted near the entrance to the White House. The president says workers will preserve the wood from the tree. It's possible it will be used for something else in the future. A new tree will be planted in its place. The tree is expected to be removed next week.
Bad fuel delivery. An Apex gas station received a batch of compromised gas. And today on WRAL News at 4, the damages it's causing to cars around the Triangle and what to do if you filled up your tank there.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Get breaking news updates anytime with the WRAL app.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.